haven't noticed, we have a committee tonight, and I'm going to share a little bit about that. But they're keeping me on a strict schedule. So I jumped the gun a little bit. I shared my Bishop Mark story a little early. The committee didn't like that, and they held me off. So that's a little blow on that. So with that, I want to welcome Bishop Mark Andrews.
Hello, everybody! Hello! Can you hear me? I can't quite yet because I can still hear you.
Thanks. So I want to welcome Bishop Mark Andrews from the Diocese of California.
The bangle is still in play. It's a great honor for Sheila and me to be here to celebrate Deb and Bruce on an occasion that apparently all of the region has come justly to celebrate. It's a beautiful thing. We are very happy that Bruce has stayed the course with Deb and his family at Resurrection Pleasant Hill. As I'll say in a moment, the average tenure of an Episcopal clergy person at a congregation, be it a mission or a parish, has plummeted to about an average of 5 years now. There are so many reasons for this, but the main one, I think, is stress that our congregations have felt. And this is every denomination of the Christian world, and it's also every faith. All are finding that this world, which needs faith and feels that it needs faith so very much, yet the organized, as I said, religions are struggling and have diminished tremendously since the 1960s. And yet, there are some people, and their numbers, of course, are fewer and fewer, who stay with their congregations to serve. And I, as the bishop of this diocese, am deeply, deeply grateful for that. And it is indeed, when Sheila and I were driving up and Sheila saw the balloons, and the fact that they were different colors, we decided that was to honor the two of them, Deb and Bruce. Because this is entirely it is entirely a work of mutuality and of love and of mutual support. And Deb, of course, has her own beautiful ministry and has been faithful in that for many, many years. But her ministry has also been to love and support Bruce, as it has been his to love and support her. And so I know that we're all here for both of them. Now, some people, of course, stay in positions simply because it's easier not to move, and they park themselves. And I remember reading when I was a young person in high school, there were certain things that they all were asked to read. And Bartleby the Scrivener was, do you remember that? Was one, and of course, a Scrivener, we don't have many of them around, but we have people who occupy positions like that. And he would be asked to do actual work, and he would say, I prefer not to. And he just kept saying that to everything. This is not Bruce. Bruce has stayed in his role as rector with heart and mind and total commitment. And he's kept his freshness and his creativity and his love for the people he serves. And that, of course, extends far beyond the members of Resurrection Pleasant Hill. I passed the table of folks who are here from a 12-step community that meets at Resurrection Pleasant Hill. Many, many Episcopal congregations, perhaps all, host some number of 12-step programs. It is one of the most beautiful things we do. But they don't always come in relationship with the people in the congregation or with the clergy there. These have, and they value Bruce and his love and support for them, and many of them have found their lives changed and supported, while they may not be congregants at Resurrection. And they may not be Episcopalians, which of course is a sad mistake. So instead of these maundering remarks, I have prepared a proclamation. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Amen.
Amen.
As the Reverend Bruce Smith and his wife Deb have faithfully served the Church of the Resurrection in Pleasant Hill for 31 years, a remarkable accomplishment at any time, but especially when the average tenure of the Episcopal priest in the congregation has fallen to 5 years. And whereas the Reverend Bruce Smith's service has maintained his creativity, faithfulness, and diligence throughout these many years, and whereas the Reverend Bruce Smith has served the Diocese of California in many capacities, including as member and president of the Standing Committee of the Diocese of California, and whereas the Reverend Bruce Smith is known to be a good colleague and mentor to clergy in the Diocese of California, and whereas the Reverend Bruce Smith is a loving husband and father, a wholesome model of a member of a Christian family, and whereas the Reverend Bruce Smith has notified his bishop and the parish he serves of his retirement, so justly deserved and earned, therefore be it resolved that the Diocese of California and the Parish of Resurrection Pleasant Hill and the Bishop of California express their gratitude and affection to the Reverend Bruce Smith and his family, and therefore be it resolved that I do hereby declare that Sunday, January the 28th, 2018, to be the Reverend Bruce Smith Day in the Diocese of California. Given under my hand and seal on the 28th day of January in the year of our Lord 2018. Now, I realized after I wrote this that it's already late in the day. So I'm extending that to tomorrow.
Beat me to the punch. So, keeping in sequence here so the committee doesn't yell at me, I just want to give you a quick reading. In the beginning, there was Gary Lawrence. He made a phone call.
I am very old. But I have not been here since the earth began. I think they call that older than dirt. I have not even been here since our church was formed. That would be Jean Meredith. And she is younger than I am. I know, it's a paradox. It's uncomfortable when you're around. People look at you and think that because you are old, because you are old, and then they become disenchanted when you open your mouth. If you were not wise when you were young, what kind of miracle are they expecting? I have served as senior warden to every priest who has ever been at this parish. Wow. Beginning with Father Shackle, who became my godfather. This ended with Bruce and included the 4 interim priests who preceded him: Robert Hall, George Foxworth, John Archer, and Fran Toy. Fran Toy was the last of those four, and she is much shorter than Father Patrick. So we lowered the altar table in order to see more than just her eyes. Fran was the first woman priest to head our parish, and she helped tremendously as we transitioned into Bruce. She is here today. So Fran, please stand up and wave to you. Let me give you a couple examples of my lack of wisdom. When Father Atwood was our priest, he told me that his friends at Christ the King were offering him some church trappings. There was a giant gold tabernacle, as big as I was, and 12 very tall gold candle holders. He asked me whether they would be suitable in our church, and I said, "Who would object?" Not wise. If the Catholics thought the altar pieces were too ornate for their more simple modern services, why did I think the Episcopalians? Check with Mary Lou Lucas for other details. I believe she will provide light and not heat about the cabinet. You might also check with Mary Lou Lucas about Sylvania Washington, who sprang to immediate life at about this time. Sylvania was named for the light bulb, and she brought light and joy and some humiliation to many parishioners, and at least 2 rectors. In the days before the caller ID, people had no idea who they were dealing with, as Sylvania inserted her sweet but insistent self into their lives. She phoned Bruce to make suggestions about tidying up around the church. And you may have noted that he has been very diligent about that. Sylvania telephoned Mary Lou Lucas to congratulate her when Mary Lou was elected mayor of Walnut Creek. She said, "I am so proud of you, Mary Lou, honey. We are both strong women and successful. I manage a short-tail laundry out here in West Pittsburgh, but life in politics is different. I did not have to sleep my way to the top." But back to the town. Over the years, those altar pieces have mercifully disappeared. Wisdom sometimes comes to others who correct your mistakes. Second example of my lack of wisdom. Many years ago, I was serving with Father Bruce at the 8 a.m. service, just the 2 of us. It was April 1st, and I thought it would be funny if I slapped a Post-it note on the back of his robe that said, "April Fool." Not wise. It was, of course, offensive to many of the sweet old people who noticed it as he distributed communion. And I apologize if any of them are still around. Getting Preston, Gladys Martin, Diana Holden, Monavito Hill, Bruce Smith, carry with me a sense of loss for all those in this church who have died. Most especially Clay Engler, who was my mentor and guide through all those years. I would like to honor all of them by bringing Lon Bruce as he goes away. I will miss him terribly.
And despite what Jerry says, he's very wise. Let me just ask Laura Gianello to join us.
It may be because my hair is so gray, or it may be because Bruce has been here so long. But the truth of the matter is, I do not recall anymore if my husband Rich and I and our 3 children came to Church of the Resurrection before or after Bruce's installation. But I do recall this. Our children insisted that we find Bruce, and here's why. When we first met Bruce, he was the assistant at St. Stephen's in Orinda. And when he greeted us at the coffee hour there, he spoke to the children first. And he always remembered their names every time we saw him. Not long after we became members of Resurrection, Rich and I were volunteering in the Sunday school and youth group programs because Bruce invited us. Sometime later, our dear church secretary fell on her way home one afternoon and was not able to return to her job. If you remember Gladys Nagel, raise your hand. Well, then Bruce asked if I would help out in the church office. The office grew with more advanced technology, such as a multi-line telephone system, a copy machine that could print more than 10 bulletins at a time, a fax machine, and eventually computers. No more typewriter and those dreadful carbon copies. And we did important work at church, moving furniture, mopping floors, and placing containers at just the right spots to catch the drips from the leaky roof. Bruce made a lot of repairs around the church, and there were always toolboxes in his office. Now, as the church grew, and we were able to hire a full-time person to oversee faith formation for children and for youth, I was invited to take that role. So Bruce, our deacon, Barb Dawson, and I worked together, along with many other staff members who came at different times. Now, sometimes Bruce would call me Barb, and sometimes he would call Barb Laura. Then he put it together and called us both Lard. It worked. We were a team. You see, Bruce always encourages teamwork in any ministry. But it is more than that. He sees us all as brothers and sisters in Christ, doing the work that God has set before us. Now, if you've participated in any of the teen or the adult mission trips, you know exactly what I mean. We were experiencing a time of growing. Many new ministries were springing up. Bruce invited people to share their passions. Small groups were formed, events were happening, and outreach was always key. People were invited and empowered to put their faith into action. And of course, important ministries continued. Moving furniture, mopping floors. All kidding aside, together we helped create ministries and programs, some still rolling today, many of which are about integrating children and youth into worship. Here's an example. We moved from yearly children's Sabbaths to monthly children and youth services. And it's heartwarming to see this and all the other ministries continue. Bruce has seen us through a lot. Several capital campaigns, major renovations and improvements, the expansion of the sanctuary and the new build, the parish hall, the kitchen, the plaza. Now here's the tip. Bruce always sought guidance from experts when we embarked on new things, always steering us in the right direction. Because we learned that a church would be doomed to fizzle if it did not focus on reaching out, on welcoming others, and on bringing in new ideas and new ministries, as well as renewing existing ministries. We thank you, Bruce, for all of the great work you have done with us. We thank you for your invitation, your guidance, and your friendship, and for your many, many handwritten thank you notes. And mostly for your deep love and care for the people of this community of faith. We thank you for your amazing sense of leadership. You see, Bruce never ran ahead to the top of the idea hill. He never yelled down at us to catch up. He was always with us, helping us see the vision of a new idea, steering us in the right direction and running with us up that hill to something new. Bruce reminds us that Jesus seldom said, "Believe in me." More often he said, "Follow me." Jesus invited others to join him in ministry, and Bruce did too. So in closing, let me leave you with this. When Bruce was on vacation, attending a seminar, or on sabbatical, our young children missed him at the Sunday worship services. We all did, really. On one of those times, when our daughter was young, she said with a deep sigh, "Oh, a day without Bruce is like a day without sunshine." And so, my friends, we may face some cloudy days ahead, but thanks to Bruce's leadership and the tremendous legacy he leaves with us, I know that Church of the Resurrection will have sunshine once again.
You said about Bruce.
I promise I'm gonna get through this without crying. As hard as that is, and I know many have struggled with that today. So we've heard from the early generation of Resurrection, and no, Laura, I'm not calling you old. Gary, you're old. No offense, but he is, he's old. What I'd like to do now is welcome the new wave. And that is, I'm going to do this, and she's going to think it's unintentional. Michelle Ramirez? Ramia. She made sure I knew her name, and I appreciate that. And we go back a long way, and I didn't know that until just recently. But the new generation, Michelle, Leah, and Jan, and Meg, and Richard.
So here's the good news, I can see close up, I can't see far away without my glasses, and all of this gloves. Hi, my name is Michelle Ramia, and I grew up at Church of the Resurrection as my parents are longtime members of this church. I was baptized here, I was married by Father Bruce in 1991, and my husband and I raised our two daughters who are now in college here at Resurrection. This evening, I'm speaking on behalf of the group at Resurrection known as the Next Wave, or the New Generation. We are the generation with a lot of children in their 20s and teens who, like us, have had the privilege to learn about God, faith, and the goodness of humanity from Bruce. Some of us were raised in the Episcopal Church, some of us were raised with different faith backgrounds, and some of us didn't have a background in faith at all. But the common denominator for all of us is that we found our way to resurrection. Some through Peter Pan Preschool, some through friends inviting us, and I came back as a young adult, but we all decided to stay because Bruce made us feel so welcome and so special. He was a regular guy with a family who seemed to understand where we were in life's journey. He didn't seem to be flustered if our kids made noises or fussed during church. He seemed to feel that their noises were the noises of a growing church family. So on behalf of the next wave, we wrote a poem for you, Bruce. We couldn't say everything we wanted in it. It summarizes the wonderful memories we've had, the opportunity to share with you and our fellow Church of the Resurrection family. The poem has a refrain, and we'd like to invite you all to join us in saying it. It goes, and we prayed together. You'll catch on, don't worry. We came as young families with new things to share. You greeted us warmly and prayed with us there. Then there were babies all over the place, each one reflecting their own special grace. And we prayed together.
Each child got baptized and sealed as Christ's own, then ran around the church, set free to roam. We cut down some trees and built a new hall. We added some chairs and tore down the wall. And we prayed together.
Then there were more babies. Rounds 2, 3, and 4. Don't these guys have self-control anymore? They needed more programs. They needed to learn, to grow, and we got them confirmed. Now they knew the whole story.
And we prayed together.
You put us on the vestry to broaden our minds. You counseled us personally, teaching us to be kind. We got a new organ, a piano and lights. We put on some shows for all to delight. And we prayed together. You let Eagle Scouts build projects all over the place. Some are so big, you can see them from space. The church needed painting, new windows, a roof. You'd let anyone help, small, large, or even a goof.
And we prayed together.
We shipped off our kids to so many places to help other people and meet some new faces. To Bread Camp, St. Dot's, the Dakotas and towns, to rebuild the places that had been torn down. And we prayed together. We struggled with illnesses, with losses and deaths. You stood beside us to show us what's best. You fed us bread and wine, not wafers and juice. When we worshipped elsewhere, the kids were confused.
And we prayed together.
You gave
your all to our families and friends, taught us to be loving and steer clear of sins. So leave us retired,
get
out there and fish. Lifelong happiness is our parting wish.
So Bruce built us a foundation and gave us a future, which is Carrie and Mary. Come on down.
Good evening. My name is Mary Wolf, and I'm the senior warden of the vestry. I've been a member of Church of the Resurrection for almost 6 years. My husband and I came to Church of the Resurrection after moving to this area and based on the recommendation of our previous rector, who told us about the amazing community here at Church of the Resurrection and about Bruce. I am so grateful to be part of this church, to participate in this community among all of you, to do the work that we do here, and for the opportunity for our little one Tyler to grow up in this community of faith among all of you who have become family to me. You have touched our lives and our hearts in ways that have just blown us away. And I have stayed here because this community is one of the greatest blessings in my life.
My name is Carrie Bierink, and I have been a member of the Church of the Resurrection for nearly 7 years. A lifelong Episcopalian, I was without a church when we moved here from Philadelphia, and pleasantly surprised to discover fellow Whitman College alum Stephen McHale, who's in the house today, as now former assistant rector, on my first visit. This familiar face and friend to our initial connection to the church and the community Bruce has created through his leadership is what has kept us here. I'm serving in my second year on our vestry and co-chair the Service to Others Committee. I've participated in many ministries during my tenure here, including obviously outreach activities, choir, moms group. They've all created an opportunity for me and my family to grow in our faith in this special community. Together, Mary and I represent newcomers to the church within the last 10 years, along with about 50 other people that have become members of our community here.
So we would like to share what we have seen, what we've experienced, and been inspired by as a result of Bruce being at the helm. We've identified 3 of the most powerful qualities and characteristics of Bruce's leadership that he has instilled in this community, and these things are part of his legacy. They will continue to live on, they will continue to nurture, and they will continue to sustain us. They will help all of us as we continue to grow in our community of faith, with each other and with our community at large. The first quality that Bruce has instilled in us is living by example. He has modeled care and service within the church community. Within the church community, Bruce in his heart is a pastor and is part of your family. He walks the journey with you as a companion and as a friend. He is always there. We see this in his pastoral care and how he makes the time to keep in touch with every member of our congregation, being there to support them, to know what's going on in their lives, and to celebrate with them every single step of the way. Bruce has the innate ability to welcome and to connect people, to engage with each other, and to take action. His ability to lead, to inspire, and guide has also taught us to look out for each other. We can honor Bruce by continuing to look out for each other, the way that he has looked out for us, as we steward this community into the future. In living by example, Bruce has created a welcoming and inclusive environment. You don't have to dress up when you come to church. It's casual here. We like it when kids make noise, and there's always an emphasis on kids and youth. It's alive. This is a quote from a newcomer, and it's also the reason that they said they have stayed at Church of the Resurrection. We actually have to put a lid on the peace exchange. We are so excited at Church of the Resurrection and to connect with each other that we have to really put a lid on the peace. And in other churches, peace is just sometimes a perfunctory greeting. Another way that Bruce lives by example is his sermons. Bruce's sermons are inspiring. He speaks from an intellectual, realistic, and very relevant point of view that allows room for interpretation into today's world. In his sermons, he speaks to how does this lesson apply in our lives today? He encourages us to just go try it, to find a simple way to live that lesson in our lives. The real examples from Bruce and other clergy in their sermons are very, very powerful connectors. In sharing his vulnerability with us, it enables us to share our vulnerability with each other. With an eye to the future, Bruce has helped us to think about how we can stay relevant, both by honoring and blending traditional rituals, while also encouraging us to explore and try out new ways of worshiping. Bruce has encouraged us to live by example and to take these learnings out into the world.
The second quality is something that we believe Bruce, through his leadership, has set the tone for, and that he has helped us to recognize through this quality in each one of us. Through his leadership, Bruce has created a culture of empowerment. From the ministry review process that we conducted in, it's been a few years, 2013-14, some key strengths were identified that exist within our church community, and they are a few things that we value about this congregation, which includes service and outreach. These things have influenced and empowered us to lead in the following ways: working through differences, developing lay leaders' capabilities, supporting families, getting information out to members in a timely way, partnering with people that need to know and being involved in all the decision making, a sense of stewardship of all of our resources, programs, and people. And through it all, one of the most important examples Bruce has demonstrated for us is providing practical care and spiritual support for one another. He's empowered us to create programming and ministries within the church and to reach outside the four walls into the greater community to serve those in need. These include, but are not limited to, the LGBTIQI fellowship group, diversifying our music programming, offering people to share their talent via solos, contemporary music, all of that fun stuff. Vacation Bible School, which draws over 85% from outside of our church community, warm winter nights, and expanded awareness and outreach to Monument Crisis Center, Contra Costa Interfaith Housing, and Mountain View Emergency Family Shelter.
The third quality is something that we see as inherent in Bruce's character. Bruce is a life-giving force.
Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "The only gift is a portion of thyself." Each of the ways Bruce has lived the example and empowered us has been a gift and a life-giving force to each of us individually, and a life-giving force to the community and to the world.
In his 31 years with us, and through all of the examples that we have shared, Bruce's DNA has become part of the fabric of each and every one of us, and of our community at Church of the Resurrection. This is his legacy, and it will continue to inspire and continue to live on forever. Bruce, for all the gifts that you have given us, we are so very grateful, and we love you.
You know, you think about the foundation that Bruce has given us. You know, from the ancient Gary Lawrence making that phone call, to the core, those who've been part of the congregation for so many years, to our future, to him being able to leave, but giving us that foundation, that wisdom, that strength that we can move forward, essentially without him, because he has set the bedrock. But how does that happen? Does one man do that alone? And I think about that in my own life, and I bet all of us think about that in our own life. Family helps with that. It gives us the strength to do that. So with that, we want to welcome Bruce's sons, Jeff and Stephen.
Well, it is an honor to be up here this evening and to give a speech about Bruce Smith. Bruce Smith is. We all know that Brucey's greatest accomplishment was raising two strapping young God-fearing men. We thought we'd share a few of our favorite memories about our father. Jeff, do you remember those times when you would go up for communion when we were young, and right before you would receive the bread from Dad, you would give him what you called Scrabble fingers, where you would contort your fingers in such a way where he couldn't put the bread into your hand. And so he would just skip you for communion. You remember that? No recollection of that whatsoever.
All right, here's one for Stevie. You remember when you would be singing Christmas carols in the shower, but you'd get rid of the lyrics and just say mean things about me. And then Bruce thought it'd be a good idea to throw that in a Christmas Eve sermon so the whole congregation could know about
I don't remember that. Well, how about this one? I remember another time you actually did get bread at communion one time, and instead of gently placing it in your mouth, you thought it'd be funny to try to throw it into your mouth from a distance. But you missed your mouth completely, and it went over your shoulder, and you were laughing so hard by the time the wine came around, you took a gulp of wine and you spit it back up into the chalice. And Dad was so upset with you that he had a stern talking to you when you got back home and threatened never to give you communion again. You remember that?
No. How about the time at the Bishop's Ranch when you were playing the softball and a random woman was walking by and you drilled her in the back of the head? Brucey was not impressed. Some would say he was livid.
Can't say I remember it. You remember those times when, gosh, throughout almost all of our childhood and even into our teenage years, Brucey would say, hey, I need your help down at church for about 30 minutes with some yard work or a project I'm working on, and about 4 hours later, we would still be there. You remember that? Yeah, I remember that.
I just compiled, me and my brother, some fun things to remember. And this one takes place at a bread camp. All of you probably know Bible Record Education, Education Discovery. Me and my brother were fairly young. My dad was the chaplain at this time, and we were in this place called Kit Cottage with one Phil Bouchard, Brian Janello, and so my dad was the responsible chaplain. And some marshmallows came out. But have you guys seen marshmallows that are the size of a baseball? So you can huck these things incredibly hard and incredibly fast. And the largest marshmallow war erupted in Kit Cottage that day. I remember me and my brother just running around and diving behind couches as my dad, responsible chaplain, had this massive marshmallow war with a whole bunch of teenagers. So that was pretty amazing to see. Another thing, so a few years ago, my dad decided to play Capture the Flag. This is after 2 ankle surgeries and a shoulder surgery. And he had a little mishap, and he fell and broke his jaw and had his jaw wired shut. So where I'm getting at this is my dad always had an awesome way of bringing fun and excitement to ministry, even at the expense of his own body, and sometimes his own children being in the crossfire of marshmallow wars. I mean, it's been a really amazing thing to see my dad bring a fun, energetic way to his ministry that really inspired me and my brother throughout our years. Also, as we kind of alluded to, my dad spent a ton of time down at church. There's a joke in our family, hey, where's Dad? He's at church. 99% of the time, my dad was always at the church. He'd be the last one to help clean up. He'd be working on the grounds. He'd be visiting parishioners. He really gave himself to the church all the time. And really seeing my dad work so hard created a really strong foundation for me in my career. It really taught me how to always work hard and sacrifice and be there for others throughout my entire life. Now, in conclusion, I'm really excited to see where my dad's going to go. An awesome opportunity, but it's also sad. I've known the Church of the Resurrection for 30 years, maybe not the whole time because I was a baby, but for the majority of it I knew it. And it's really interesting to see him move on from that. And where he's going to go, I don't know. But I do fear one thing. I fear for every single rainbow, brown, cutthroat, brook trout, bass, salmon, and steelhead. Pretty much all fish should be on high alert. Brucey has so much time now. Time to plan, time to execute, time to conquer every river-going, sea-living, spring-swing fish in this world. Brucey, congratulations, and we love you lots.
Obviously, my dad has had a huge impact on me and my sense of vocation and my sense of call and my spirituality. As my brother alluded to, we have spent a lot of time down at Church of the Resurrection, tromping around and causing trouble and just having a good time down there at those church grounds. My dad became rector of Church of the Resurrection when I was just 3 years old. So some of my earliest and fondest memories are at Church of the Resurrection. I remember our first dog, Molly. When I first saw her, she was at church in my dad's office underneath his desk, huddled by the air conditioner there, hanging out. I remember other memories, going to Peter Pan preschool, acolyting on Christmas Day, always, because you can never find any other acolytes on Christmas Day, so somehow my brother and I always got capped to do that. And it actually kind of became a fun family tradition. Now, whenever we're home, we'll acolyte on Christmas Day. I think at one point in our lives, my brother and I were both groundskeepers at Church of the Resurrection, mowing the lawn, doing other such yard work that Brucey would put us to. I remember also, I think maybe I was in elementary school, and I would go before school, I'd go and hang out at church with my dad, and we'd tromp around the grounds there. And there was at one point when they were putting a new roof on Church of the Resurrection, and as you all probably know, it's a very unique shaped roof. And Jimmy Cosenza and his crew had taken all the shingles off the roof, and it was just exposed plywood. And my dad and I, in the early morning, got up there on the roof, and we tried to run up the side of the roof as far as we could go and make a mark on the side of the roof, because I think all the other roofers were doing that, and we thought it'd be a lot of fun. Probably not the safest thing to do, but I guess that's what you get to do when you're the priest's kid. Growing up in the church too, and having a priest for a dad, I also got to see what I want to call the underbelly of ministry. The not so fun things to do. The things that require a lot of emotional labor and attention and energy. Things like capital campaigns, dealing with personnel issues, you mentioned it. And as I was going through the ordination process myself, people would always ask me, Stephen, you've seen this up close and personal, this underbelly of sort of ministry. Are you sure you want to do this? And my answer was always, yes, absolutely. And I think so much of that has to do with you, Dad. And I think, in particular, seeing the relationships you have with people. The way you work with people and the way you interact with people is something that I've always looked up to and admired. Your relationships with your parishioners, the people here, your friends and colleagues, and all people who came through Church of the Resurrection, anybody, people who were experiencing homelessness, you name it. It stood out to me, and it's something I always looked up to. And there's parts in our baptismal covenant when we talk about seeking to serve Christ in all people and respecting the dignity of every human being, and I think you do that better than anybody I've ever met. And I think that cuts to the core of what it means to be a Christian. You, Dad, live into the Christian life better than anybody that I know. And often, I think, in life, we hear people talk about their role models, the people that they look up to, and say, you know what, someday I'm going to be that person. I want to be like that person. And I've been lucky enough throughout my life to call my role model my dad. So, Brucey, we love you, and here's to you.
Okay, Stephen, for you, all I can say is, when it comes to following in your father's footsteps, your pastoral ministry as you move forward in those congregations that you serve, follow his example. When it comes to trip and fall or any other physical activity, do not follow his example. Are we clear? You got that, right? Good, okay. Bruce has touched so many lives. He has mentored many, throughout the clergy, throughout this diocese, throughout this country. So let's welcome our own Stephen McHale and Fuqua Short.
Oh, Brucey. Originally, they said that we had 5 minutes each.
Yes.
But we've just got word that we've got lots more, the more stories we get to tell. First, I'd like to say that Stephen and I are both blessed. We are each fathers to 2 children. And we would be so fortunate to be able to stand here in some time and hear what we just heard from the 2 of you. And I do remember that marshmallow fight at the cottage. And what I remember about it, in addition to being smacked upside the head several times by this priest, was somehow Bruce was running across the room and dove and turned in the air and fired 4 marshmallows. And each of them hit me. But what I want to share is, so that happened when I was probably 16 years old. That was a little while ago. What I really remember is about 20 years ago, when Bruce and a friend of ours named Henry Bain, God rest his soul, invited me to go fishing. Henry was about a generation older than Bruce. Bruce is about a generation older than me, although it may not look that way. And I was about 22, 23 years old. And I had an inkling of what I might do in my life, but I really wasn't sure. And these 2 incredibly wise, patient, caring people paid attention to me and listened to me. And several times over the past 14 years I've been ordained, when people ask me, why did you become an Episcopal priest? And often I reference that trip and those trips like it with Bruce and with Henry. And I say, you know, if they had been garbage collectors, I might work for Waste Management. Because what Bruce offers, and we've heard it time and time again, is witness to what it is like to live a life of integrity. And so here are 3 pieces that I have carried in my life as a priest that come from Bruce. One of them is about being a good neighbor. When I was called out of seminary to serve, I served at St. Paul's in Walnut Creek. And as can happen in some Episcopal congregations that are located near one another, people would go back and forth between St. Paul's and Church of the Resurrection. And every single time somebody came from St. Paul's and spent time at Church of the Resurrection, a phone call would come from Bruce. He'd say, just want you to know that they're here, and what I tell them every time is, welcome to Church of the Resurrection. We hope this is a great place for you to find respite and heal, and go back to your home when it's right. And one of the things I've always admired about Bruce and tried to carry forward in my ministry is that he had the utmost care for where you were and where you were coming from. And that's something that I have tried to exhibit in my life as a priest. The other is really simple, but it's not simplistic. Bruce has a saying, you might have heard, that people are down on what they're not up on. And for me, what that means is that you have to be in real communication with people as a leader. It doesn't work, I don't think, in our culture to be able to say as a leader, and this is what you're going to do. That's not Bruce's style. And so he was consistent over the years to be able to let people know what he was thinking and why. And there's a reason why so many people follow. The last thing you've heard several times, which is that Bruce saw as his primary job as the rector of Church of the Resurrection in Pleasantville, it was to love people. And you can't do this job if you don't love your people. Bruce has a great mind and he uses it. He's got skill sets, he's learned things over the years, but his most enduring characteristic, and the one that I try to live out every day, is that you have to love your people like God loves your people, and the rest will follow. Thank you, Bruce.
Man, this is the weirdest funeral. Bruce Smith gave me my first job out of seminary. And I truly did not know what I was doing. Clearly, Bruce did not either. This is a theme, perhaps, in our ministry together, that we're groping forward together. I learned a lot in seminary from big, thick books and erudite conversations about theologians, but I learned to be a priest from you, Bruce Smith, and I am grateful for that. I learned that relationships will teach me much more about God than any books or rituals ever will. Relationships with hundreds of people in this room, with your wife Deb, with Stephen and Jeff. I learned that God is in that combination of two people listening to one another. Not that I listened to you. The other thing you taught me was how to be a father and be a priest at the same time with my own children there in the congregation. The example you have given me with Stephen is incredible. And I hope I can raise my own children, Jackson and Priscilla, like you've raised Stephen, and you too, Jeff. You cannot replace Bruce Smith. I know you've been trying to do that one body part at a time. But he is one of a kind. This whole community, this church, this diocese is going to mourn your retirement, Bruce. Everyone in this room, I think, but Deb Smith is But your work, people here, your work is not mourning. Your work is discipleship. And Bruce has been the best leader you could ask for 31 years. So get over your tears as fast as you can and follow the example he's given you and get to work, sharing the Spirit of, continue with your work of sharing the Spirit of God with this community in the way that Bruce taught you. That is what I am going to continue trying to do, Bruce. That is what your son Stephen and even your son Jeff thing to the living gospel we're going to get. So please, raise a glass, raise a hand, say a prayer, and give thanks for the ministry of Bruce Smith.
I feel your pain. I was odd man out too on the career path. No one in my family was ever a cop. Where'd that come from? So there's going to be some gold bags coming around, and they're going to have some champagne glasses in it for you, and some napkins, because we do have some luscious cupcake coming out for dessert. So those are going to go around because we're going to take a moment to recognize Bruce. But I'm going to do my final costume change for the night. I know I've disappointed you. I put it out there early, but I'm going to do one more. Just one more. Hang on. I'll be right back.
Get off my costume. Thank you. Okay. It's really hard. This is the hardest.
This is the hardest one. Okay, now I'm the vice mayor of the city of Pocono. So, early on, I'm very shy. I'm an introvert, if you haven't figured that out yet. But I became the mayor of Pleasant Hill in 2015. Thank you. Prayers of the people. We pray for our President Barack. We pray for our Governor Cherry and all those in leadership throughout the world. Well, wait a minute, I'm the mayor of Pleasant Hill and I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I need all the prayers I can get. And I say this to someone, come back to next week. We pray for our President Barack. We pray for our Governor Cherry. We pray for the mayor of Pleasant Hill, Ken. Thank you. So thank you, Bruce, because it's gotten me through a lot of difficult times. I've needed that support, I've needed those prayers. How many have served on the vestry? Raise a hand. So how many have had the privilege of going to a retreat at Bishop Ranch? I promise I'm going to go to the ranch, I swear. But we do, Bruce's, your reach is far and wide. We have people from Bishop Ranch here tonight. Sean and Jack, where are you? Raise your hand, wave, hi. This is what we do at political events. Wave. And Lisa, you're all part of the group. No, but again, the reach is far and wide. So here's the political public service announcement where I get to play the vice mayor of the city, where Bruce has had a large impact. He has, I got his whole bio here somewhere. Where did I put this thing? Oh, here we go. Yeah. But let me do one more thing real quick, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to stay on schedule, I'm trying to stay on track, but, with Jeff and Stephen coming up here, oh, now she ran away. Where did that go? Because the reality is, can we do this without our spouse? Bruce? You don't know what the answer is, right? You cannot do this without the support of your family. Anything we embark on in our life, when you think about it, you cannot do this without, I know what the stuff I put Jeremy through, the support he provides me, the bailout that he provides. Coffee Ever Bailout Club is right there, the empty chair, if you ran away from me. Those types of things. But, the reality is, Bruce is where he is in many ways based on that relationship, that spouse, that wife who has supported him and provided the bailout support, the safety net, whatever it may be. And so I just want to, now that she's run away, give a shout out to Deb, because really, she really, we should be recognizing. So, Bruce, long history and in many ways served diocese, served this congregation for so many years, but as a part of that, he has served this community. And this is what's really challenging for me, because he's impacted me personally as a political leader within this community. He has reached out to me, with his leadership and his religious group, routinely. And in his stance on social justice issues with Reverend Paulson and Fred and all of the other clergy within this community that he has worked with and a part of, we're here tonight to recognize him as well and supported in this, but to come to me as a political leader and to state his position on immigration issues, on women's issues, on LGBTQ issues, all of those things have been a true inspiration to me as a political leader. So it's with great honor that at this point that I get to recognize him as a political leader. And I'd ask you to come on down. Yeah, why don't you come on up with us too? Come on. I'm going to pick on you as much as anybody can.
So you don't trip, buddy. Don't trip, Deb.
So we're going to start small. But in appreciation, as a representative of the city of Pleasant Hill, I just want to present you with this certificate of appreciation for your service to this community and all you've done. So I just want to bring you, this is from the City Council and the Mayor of Pleasant Hill, Tim Flaherty, recognizing your 31 years of service to this congregation and this community. Thank you. But don't go away. His reach is much broader than that. This is a proclamation from our county supervisor, representative of District 4, Karen Mitchoff. And I'm not going to read all of the whereases, but a few. You know how old he is? We do. Whereas Bruce Smith was born to Dick and Mary Louise Smith in Washington, D.C. on September 23rd, 1950. But again, it just goes on to recognize all of his accomplishments, his success in seminary, his successes within the community, and again, all that he has done to impact us in such a positive way outside of the church, in the sense of the community. So Bruce Smith has spent his time at the Episcopal Church of the Resurrection, keeping the need of social justice in the community at the forefront. And in 1989, Bruce shed light on the AIDS crisis within the Bay Area community, and he opened the church doors after the terrorist attacks of September 11th to council members of the community who were grieving. And again, after the mass shooting in Orlando in June 2016, he has encouraged and supported many plays and galas at the church where proceeds were designed for social service agencies in the community. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the County of Contra Costa Supervisor Karen Mitchoff does hereby honor Rector Bruce Smith for his years of dedicated service to the Episcopal Church of the Resurrection, the City of Pleasant Hill, and the County of Contra Costa.
Hey.
There's more. Bruce does have a far reach for those who might not know. This comes from our Assemblyman Tim Grayson. And again, it's another certificate of recognition. And this, again, is for the impact he's had in such a broad way within the community that he served. So I'm not going to read all the whereases because it basically goes in and it swells his head. But I will read the conclusion. Resolved by Assemblymember Timothy S. Grayson that he joins with others in the community to thank Father Bruce Smith for his years of dedication to helping others and congratulates Father Smith on a well-deserved retirement. I didn't think I was gonna make it through any of that. Is Phil Matthews married with me? There we go, look at that. Come on down. Don't go far, Bruce. We have a gift for you. So. Step 2. See, it's you and I too. Come on back. Come on back. It was just enough time to put that on the proclamations and move.
I know you're fascinated with proclamations. Well, a lot of times politicians were priests. We have something very special to tell you guys tonight. For all the wonderful years of service, the whole community of the Church of Resurrection, your friends that are here, your families. I'm sorry. Your friends and your family, we want to give you the world. All right? And so here's literally the world. Is that the net proceeds tonight we're going to give you as a travel fund, that once you get your knees fixed and you can go off, maybe not hiking with Scott Williams in New Zealand or something, but to see the world and to do something and travel that you would really like. So it comes from the hearts of all of us. I'll carry it.
I've seen one of those before. Doubles as a bar. We didn't fill it with liquor. The world is your oyster now, Bruce.
Ken, we're looking for Joan. Where is she?
We're looking for Joan. Anybody seen with Joan? Why can't Kim find you?
Joan's right there.
I don't know. Why don't you come on down and join us? Jean? We got Jean to join us. Come on down. Has everybody got a glass? Don't cheat, start early. Jeff.
Here's a dollar bill up here. Maybe that's the last speaker.
That's my Twitch font. Don't go there.
Can you all hear this?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joan, and this is Jean.
Speak right in it.
Oddly enough, we're really pleased to see you all here tonight to celebrate Bruce and his family's time with us. Bruce's leadership has, this is not going to come as a surprise to you. Yes, my own. Bruce's leadership for the past 31 years has helped us to grow in our faith and also in our outreach. Bruce, you have mentored us and taught us, prayed with us and played with us, laughed with us and cried with us, and been a steadfast friend.
Now I would ask all of your friends here to take a glass and raise it.
Yep. Why not?
And at the appropriate time, you can join me in the toast. Bruce, we pray that you may always be well enough to fish every single day. And when it comes to your last cast, we most humbly pray, when you are in the Lord's great net, and there you're sound asleep, we hope that in His mercy, He judges you big enough to keep.
Hey, Bruce. Drink that quick. You might need it. This is your moment.
Okay.
You know, we are here, we all appreciate you. Clearly, we're here for you. I'm here for Dad, but whatever. Come and talk to us.
All right.
Let's have it done speaking up. It's not a sermon, 2.5 minutes.
You know, I don't know what to say because I want to say so much, but I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Each of you in your own weird, wonderful way has been a blessing to me. What's that saying? It takes a village to raise a child. Well, I think it takes a hell of a lot of friends to raise an Episcopal priest. And I am blessed to call you my friends. I look at my clergy friends and my clergy colleague group, and thank you. I look at my Church of the Resurrection friends over all these years, and thank you for just being there and helping me be who God is calling me to be. And I look in the back and I see my college friends, and I see my high school friends, and I see my fishing friends. And thank you guys for, well, for loving me when I probably wasn't very lovable, and just being there and being my friend. I am grateful. And I'm grateful to my Pleasant Hill clergy colleagues. They're an important part of my life. And I'm grateful to those friends in the community that just are my friends in the community. It takes a lot of people to help someone along the road of life, and you all have just been fantastic, and I thank you for that. And I also thank you just for your good humor. I think it was the writer Annie Dillard that called laughter carbonated holiness. And there has just been a lot of great laughter over the years, and therefore a lot of wonderful, wonderful carbonated holiness. So thank you for that. And then last are the people that have been so important in my life and my true friends, and always standing by me, thick or thin. Obviously, our two boys, Stephen and Jeff, but my wife, Deb, my best friend, my partner, my, I don't know, biggest supporter, even when I'm a knucklehead, you were there. Thank you, dear. So it's embarrassing to be here. That's what it is. So thank you for who you are. Thank you for letting me call you my friend, even if you don't feel like my friend. I feel you're my friend. I feel like I can call you friends, and because of that, it has been a great ride. And heck, I just love you guys.
Other than knee replacement, we know he's not going too far. But let's, again, a big round of applause for Dad. And Stephen. Because without them, we would have 150% we got out of it. Right? let's take a moment to enjoy a quick slide presentation of Bruce.
How they live out their faith and how they live out their life. Jeff and Stephen, we've had the joy of watching you grow up. My daughter harassed Stephen all the way through high school. And Resurrection has been not just your church, but a real extension of your family home. It must feel very strange to be in this situation. There isn't a nook or cranny of the church that you don't know. As you said, you went to preschool there, you mowed lawns, cleaned the bathrooms because your father is a bathroom Nazi. You did the landscaping, you played in the fields. During that time, you also grew into very outstanding young men. Jeff. As an adult, Jeff, we've followed your firefighting and EMT career. We've wondered what fire you were on, how you were, what you were doing, and that you stayed safe. You see people in extraordinary situations, many of which are more than difficult. We pray that you will continue to treat people that you are saving as beloved children of God, just like you. Share your skill and compassion with them as you do your work. We also pray that you remember to take care of yourself. Not only your body, but your spirit and your faith. Stay healthy. Stephen and Holly, you're just starting your careers in your ministries. And we've watched that and had that fun with Stephen going through the ordination process. Bruce and Deb have been excellent examples of a good and healthy clergy couple. And they have very large shoes to fill. But they're not your shoes. Seek wisdom and advice when you feel it appropriate, including from Bruce and Deb. But walk in your own path and wear your own shoes. Love and support each other and put a priority on making time for yourselves as a couple. We hope your ministries will be fulfilling and life-giving to you and to your family. Deb, you've been a true joy and a gift to me and to this place. You have a ready smile, a needed laugh, and a comforting presence. Your love for all God's creatures have extended to us humans. You've been true to yourself in the way you've ministered to us and among us. And you've done countless things to help us that we have never seen or heard about. A familiar theme to many of us is, don't worry, Deb's got that. Don't worry, Deb's got that. Don't worry, Deb's got that. You've taught Sunday school, baked bread at 8:30 in the morning when the bread maker didn't show up. You've been racing around town doing last-minute things, wrapping presents, getting gifts. And you have cooked countless meals, both large and small. You protected your family's privacy so that they could grow up and have some semblance of life. And you have shared your husband with us all the time. You've worried about us, prayed for us, comforted us, and ministered with us through all these years, all the while working full-time as a dietitian and as a teacher. We hope that you will be able to have some time to be filled with joy and do the things that you want to do. And Bruce, 30 years and 6 months ago, a pretty new deacon from the Diocese of Utah, wherever the heck that is, knocked on the door of the church asking if there was an opportunity to minister. And you said, I don't know, let's give it a go. Thank you. That changed my life. It's been a good ride. I'll miss you. You've given me an opportunity to grow in the way God had for me to grow, as you did what you did, and together and with all the people who have been with us, both in the congregation and serving with us. It has been a fabulous time. There are not enough words to describe what I feel for you. Happy fishing. Don't bring anything else. I don't want to see your orthopedic anymore. We love you and we wish you all the very best. So now we're going to say a prayer that is one of Bruce's favorites. He brought it to us, and it's going to be on your screen. So together, let us say the night prayer. Lord, it is night. The night is for stillness. Let us be still in the presence of God. It is night after a long day. What has been done has been done. What has not been done has not been done. Let it be. The night is dark. Let our fears and darkness of the world and of our own lives rest in you. The night is quiet. Let the quietness of your peace enfold us, all dear to us, and all that are peace. The night is dark on. Let us look expectantly to a new day, new joys, new possibilities. In your name we pray. Amen. And finally, time has come for you to bridge from the church to the world. The bonds that have held us together have been transformed into bonds of love that will always keep us united. Recalling the words of a very, very wise woman, Mary Louise Smith, remember who you are and what you represent as we all leave this place to love and serve the Lord in whatever way we are to do. Good night. Thank you for coming.
Wow. Well, now I gotta thank you, Bruce, for bringing us forward, too.
Best thing.
We've been very fortunate in so many ways. From thanks to your adventurous spirit, your insightful wisdom. I say that cautiously because you've broken a few things.
We've heard that a lot.
It's deflection when it comes to me because I've broken a lot too. But it's an adventurous spirit, and that adventurous spirit, and
Give me that mic.
I don't want to give it to Kim because I'm afraid. I want to just thank you, your family, and all of you for celebrating Bruce with us tonight. Everybody get a cupcake? Good night.
Kim's tired, go home.